First time doing content like this. First time doing a voiceover, but since it is such a heavy topic, I thought I would discuss it. At first I was really supportive of the Reforged update, and I think it has a lot of potential because we do need change. The problem right now is the game is at its easiest to grind. It's really easy to grind tech tree tanks, it's really easy to get your hands on new collectors, even tier 10 collectors, which was not the case for a very long time. I mean, I remember I started playing all the way back when Frankenstein came out, the Frankenstein tank, the first ever Halloween tank for Blitz, and back then, for a really, really long time, getting a tier 10, even a tech tree tank, was not something you'd think of getting in like a month. Maybe in a year you get one. And from around 2018 to up to now, it's just kept going up and up with how easy it is to grind. Getting more and more new tanks, and with the advertisement that Blitz has held for new players and first time, obviously it has attracted a lot of people to the game, and when you combine that with it being very easy to get new tanks, we have a massive problem, not with, I wouldn't say so much the matchmaking, but with the people in the game. There's just a massive skill issue, and Blitz has done very little to work on that. It has done a lot to introduce new themes, and one of the things I'm really thankful and happy for is the amount of events they've been doing. One of my main upsets of the game before used to be that there wasn't enough events. The game was just boring many times. I remember 2020, 2021, 2022 started to pick up at that game. Really, really boring just because of the lack of events. So Reforged is kind of trying to fix that by going a little bit counterintuitively. They're trying to make it a lot harder to access a lot of the tanks, while trying to break that skill gap by making those tanks harder to access. They're trying to make it so that way with the new sets is the main topic. I feel like everyone is up about the commanders, but I think the sets are the more important thing. By trying to make the sets pertain to certain types of playstyles, etc. And I think that's a good direction to go towards. I think they should leave the tech tree, because we all still love the tech tree in the country, but make it like the thing that you can look on but not interact with necessarily. And keep the sets, because the sets, I think, they explain it on their stream. It's a very valuable tool that they've put in a lot of time to make, and I think it has pretty good potential to be even better than the normal tech tree. But I don't think that they should take out the tech trees entirely. And I've watched the entire Wargaming stream addressing the current backlash. I've been following the news on Reforged ever since the trailer released. I've watched N90 talk about it, a lot of Druids, heard some from Meadsy, and everyone's kind of been saying some similar topics, some different. But the community versus the YouTuber feedback is slightly different. Everyone is very focused on the aesthetic of the game, how it and I think that is something to talk about, because I will say it does look very different. That would remind me a lot about Fortnite itself, going from chapter 1 to chapter 2. If anybody has ever or was ever there to experience that, that was kind of a really, really bad change for most people. Most people did stop playing that game, including me, just because of that chapter transition from the sort of goofy but understandable graphics that were really fun at first in chapter 1 to the extremely goofy and just childish graphics in chapter 2. So I do feel like Blitz is heading in that direction, but in their live stream they did explain a big thing where they're trying to set the boundaries right now, so they really overshot it. And so they're kind of actually focusing on the community feedback. This is what they want, so that way they know how to tweak it. I think there's a lot of general improvements. Starting with the sets, I think Julius mentioned it. We need to make sure the sets really fit in. We should not be having a Caliban in the same set as a 62p and an AMX on 454. And then I've watched every set from Blitzstar's YouTube channel. If you guys really want to, I will link it in the description or in the comments down below. He basically has every video going through every set that will be in the next Reforged update. And yeah, there are definitely some things that just do not belong in certain sets. I think they have to change that. And another thing I think is they have to make a system for the specialty tanks, right? That is still very, very familiar to the players. So that way, like I6 Fearless, you can still only get it through quick coins, right? Or if it's a new ratings tank, you can only get it by playing raids and getting the certificates. And for tanks like but as for the tanks like the Amex, the Lorraine 5010 and the really rare tanks that are in crates and are really hard to get, I think those ones should be allowed to be sold out, right? Because it's bad for the game already that we have the rates. Anything's gonna get any better if Wargaming keeps putting more and more tanks for really rare percentage that you cannot get with charms, especially for people who have almost every tank in the game and trying to get that specific tank that is not there. Also with crates in general, a lot of YouTubers, a lot of players who have been playing the game for a long time have already been complaining about this for a really, really long while. Especially for the snow globes, Wargaming has to make a way for a snow globe to guarantee a tank that the player doesn't already have. Especially for someone who's trying to get like a new Christmas tank and they have every other tank in the snow globe. You know, why not just put a pop-up offer in the store where there's a special snow globe that can only be bought once for like, say, $50 to $90, and it guarantees at least one tank that the player does not already have. That would be very helpful for the people who spend a lot of money in this game, but not a lot of tanks in the garage. I think not even players who have most of the tanks, but players as a majority will probably buy more. Will probably buy those types of snow globes because everybody will want at least one guaranteed snow globes, especially if you open the free one from the Christmas fair. You get a tank that you already have. It would really motivate anybody to buy that special snow globe to get a tank guarantee that you do not already have. So that's that for the sets. I think otherwise they're pretty good. They just need to add the text tree around them so that way we can still look at them and the nations and the lines they're built around. I think it's going to be helpful. We need to twitch and fix some of the tanks that are certain sets to other tanks. I think it will make a lot more sense for the Caliban to be in the same set as the 183 and the 63. Now the commanders. The commanders are a bit controversial, the most controversial aspect of it, because of that resemblance to Fortnite, right? And I think the problem right now is that they have this like 6 or 5 amount of commanders, only 5 or 6. And there's only like 1 or 2 that look decent, like the medium tank one kind of looks resembling World War II or a realistic commander, as well as the Mad Games commander, which makes sense for the game. And, you know, some people might not like some of the other commanders. I think some of the community might agree to disagree more or less on certain commanders, but they're not given enough choice, and they chose the wrong commanders to portray in the trailer. The most cartoony commanders are the ones they show in the trailer, and the ones that are kind of branding it around. I think there's multiple ways to show it. They're already working on it, and they said during the stream in having certain tanks certain commander settings that you can make, so that way it dictates how much or how little you can see those commanders interact with them, which I think will work because you can basically switch between the new system of having the commander with the voice crews and setting master tanks, or you can have them basically extinct them. The game's gonna feel a lot more like the classic Blitz where you have your national crew voice lines, etc. Another thing what you can possibly do is have commanders for each 2 tanks. So I'll take the T100LT and give it a commander that gives it a lot of scouting abilities, and make the commander look like a Soviet cosmonaut from the 1960s, and etc. for a lot of other nation lines that are specific to certain tech tree and collector tier 10s.
Let's go.
Another example, let's just say a German one, would be an officer from World War II for the mouse, which gives it abilities that increase armor thickness when on reload or whenever side scraping. Well, it would be nice also to make these new kind of features where if you are doing something during the game like side scraping or reloading or using gun depression, that you get a feat or an extra bonus on something you do. Another example, American tanks go down like the concept of the 5. There's an American tank commander that gives both an increase to armor thickness on the turret when using gun depression, and a slight reload boost and a penetration, very slight penetration boost to the tank when using gun depression as well. This will make players more enticed to use the tanks the way they're supposed to be used, and it's going to give a lot more choices, so there's not as much to complain about because there's always another commander if you don't like a certain one to choose. Maybe Wargaming can also do contests where the community creates commanders. That would be
Enemy armor is damaged.
I mean, I think that would be quite the long shot for the community, but it would be nice. And I think that's that.
Enemy armor is damaged.
They just chose to show them off really bad. And then when it comes to the practical aspects, I think it's common sense to nerf the abilities right now, especially dunking. They should not be that way. And the last thing, they should not be behind the paywall. They said seems very iffy. It's
is damaged. Enemy armor destroyed.
Talking about paywalls, I think the main actual issue that I would love for Wargaming to address is the economy. They said in the stream they're going to work on the economy to make it easier to find.
Enemy armor is hit.
I think it's just the steal. The key is not as much, I think. Just don't make them as hard to get. Or rather, I think what they need to do is make silver credits currently a lot easier to get, because especially if they still want to, for some reason, equip steel into the game, which is the new system they use for consumables. And don't forget, the equipment is still in there. You're going to have to spend a lot of credits. I don't know about removing credits from the game, but making it easier to get them will, I think, fix a lot of issues in a very simple manner. It will be a very simple solution, because then you can really focus on how to spend on the game if you have the credits to do things in a free-to-play manner. The UI of Reforged is another big topic, and I think that one is going to be the biggest topic because of how the garage and some of the maps does not look the best. Plus the roulette, or the carousel as they call it, thing that you use to scroll the tanks, is not very easy or convenient to get used to. But I think they need to, because I know they're trying to change the game, probably just have settings where you can customize the tanks for your garage and for your gameplay, to where the game can have a little bit more brightness or a little more darkness to your liking. I think they can have a simple setting, not a graphics setting, is in how well the game plays, like if you have the realistic features, etc. But also how the game looks, and solely how the game looks. So that's the graphics and the UI more towards how it stands out, and less how the game's mechanics updated. That would be a pretty good and simple solution. I think also a lot of people are saying the overall UI of the settings, want to find things is hard. I think they need to have sort of 3-line button, which kind of accesses everything, and doing that, still have the texture there, and have the option to use that carousel mechanic where you can put country, tier, and whether it's a collector, or premium, or tech tree, and what type of tank class it is, because it's still one of the most useful ways for players to access tanks if they haven't big way, is to use that carousel mechanic, and You only have the tiers 1 to 7. Then you have the 10 classes. And whether it's but they need to add back the national flags because national flags probably help the most. Otherwise, I think that's for the most part it on Reforged. I think they're doing a good job of speaking and community about it. I think the game is going to be a lot better if they start changing things around that the community is complaining about. For I think there's a lot to like. The fact that in ranked, you can get gold now. You can get up to 5 gold per battle for winning if you're away in the top master regiment of the game. That's a very good change of overall game life experience for the game. And I think those are definitely really good ideas that we should not overlook with the commanders and the goofy graphics, because there are good things that Wargaming is putting into the game, such as that. Another thing is that the fact that you can, with premium time, with premium account, you can play your tank again after it is destroyed in battle to forget or in the stream again. Or if you already know you're going to win that match and you want to keep getting wins, let's say for an event, leave that battle and go back to the garage and play another battle in a tank that you might really prefer over other tanks, getting wins or damage, etc. Another thing to mention and to talk about is the fact that they're removing the normal tier 1 to 10, making tier 1 to 7, putting the antique sets of tier 1 to 3s to a special antique matchmaking where they're not really actually in the game. You can still play them, but only with other antique tanks, and they're not part of the actual game tiers. I think what they're going for with trying to get rid of slip loving is pretty good here. But I do know that a lot of people enjoy to sometimes take a break from the main tiers and go down to the low tier. And I think we should have reward 50 € for having the antique sets fully complete, or 100 gold for someone because a lot of people also collect some tier 3s, some tier 2s, some tier 1s probably. A lot of people do enjoy having those tanks, which are now rare because of update 5.5. And I think there should be some type of compensation or reward for having such a long time. But I think overall that's a good idea for putting tier 1 to 7, because that is making room for tier 8 and maybe tier 9 and maybe tier 10. A lot of people look at these changes, too radical, too crazy because of how much new stuff it's introducing. It's changing. But I think it's actually good in terms of content, because especially there's going to be new tiers and new tanks in the future. It's going to give the game a lot more life and a lot of excitement for that future. Because eventually Wargaming is going to run out of putting tier tanks and putting new mechanics into the game. And the game might end up being very boring or too crazy because of the amount of same tier tanks. You imagine a tank in tier 10 is going to be similar to a Smasher or an Iron in terms of how broken it is. It's going to be very hard to keep all the tanks balanced. The more there's tanks to a tier, the harder it's going to be to balance all of them. So I understand what the game is doing there. I think I'm just judging it really harshly for that UI and for the overall look of the game, for the changes that they're doing. But they do really need to change the commanders and the UI abilities. The UI settings. The commander abilities are way too broken right now. The game already has a problem with being too fast. Tank destroyers are the most broken tank class right now, which is interesting, but I should be able to spot a T95 out in the open, I think, which currently is not something I can do. And I think the game does need another rebalance before the update, or at least an update rebalance very soon once the Reforged update releases, because currently the game is a little bit unbalanced.
Let's go!
I think it is fun. I've been having a lot of fun, but with how skilled the majority of the players are in this game, which is not that skilled, it's not a good idea to keep this kind of balancing around for a while. The matches go too fast, and the matchmaking does not align well with the type of balance that tier 10 has combined with the type of player base that it has. With the win rate and badges not showing up, I think that is another good point. There's no reason why all the badges and win rate should not be there. In fact, I think what they should do instead of removing it and focusing on ranked is have bubbles, sort of like in the API sort of system, where it shows your win rate on certain tiers, certain classes, and certain countries. So that way, if you're looking at a player's win rate, you can also look, okay, will they do better in these types of tanks or these types of tanks? So it makes sense that they played really bad in this tank, or it doesn't make sense that they played really bad in this tank, vice versa for if they play good. This is going to give a lot more variety and a lot more knowledge for both sides. Especially these are going to give the most benefit to the player themselves, because they're going to be able to track which tanks they should focus on playing more, because they can see they're winning more in these types of tanks compared to these types of tanks, and focus on certain play styles and certain tank lines, tank sets, and reinforced because of how well they perform certain tank sets. I think that's going to be the best solution for that, because nobody wants to see the win rate page and all the badges, especially the mastery badges, go away, because those are things to be kind of powerful. And as much as I like the idea of ranked, random kind of being a different title, and more incentives to play ranked, and kind of be more skill, still needs to retain that classic feel of having the win rate and the badges. Blitz. Overall, I think it can be done to change Reforged for the better. Thank you for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope some of my advice is taken well, and I hope Reforged is actually going to be a really good update. But we'll have to see. Thank you guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Take care.